When Ida Scudder, founder of the Christian Medical College Hospital at Vellore, came to India as a young doctor in the year 1900, it was not with the idea of building up a great institution. She came out of love for the people. Beginning with a single bed in the house of her parents, a hospital slowly grew. But the more it grew, the more she determined that she must never lose the link with the people in the villages. And so every week, she went out on a regular round of visits to the villages. Over the years, her one bed became 800, and her small clinic, a medical college with many specialized departments, staffed by doctors from all over the world. But despite its size, the spirit of Dr. Ida lives on. And today, the Christian Medical College Hospital is not just a place of test tubes and tablets. It is more. It is love in action, a lifeline stretching out into homes around Vellore and beyond. It reached Kumar and brought him into hospital in time to save his life. And now he can go home, for he has been restored to health and to the full joy of living. He can return to his friends and play. But there is one friend he can't play with anymore. This is the loneliest boy in the village. Chinnapan has leprosy. He can't play, and he can't help with the family work. Even his wise old grandfather doesn't know what to do. Then one day, Kumar's mother, who has heard of Chinnapan's trouble, calls on the family. On seeing his crippled hands, she tells them about the hospital at Vellore. They saved her son's life, she says. Perhaps they can do something for little Chinnapan, too. And the hospital has a fund to help people who are really poor. So it is that Chinnapan and his mother, with nothing to help them but hope, set out courageously to walk the many long and dusty miles to Vellore. At Dr. Paul Brand's hand research clinic, Chinnapan is carefully examined. His mother is told that if he takes tablets regularly, he can be cured of his leprosy. Meanwhile, his fingers can be straightened out by an operation, and eventually he'll be able to play with his friends once more. And so one day the operation is performed. The surgeon is an Indian, assisted by a doctor from Switzerland and from Korea. The members of the surgical team are a few of the trainees who come to Vellore from many lands to prepare themselves for leprosy work in their own countries. When Chinnapan wakes up, he finds both his hands in plaster. As he will be helpless during the next 3 weeks, his mother is there to look after him. Then, at last, the great day comes when the plasters are removed. Once more, his fingers are straight. At first, they feel stiff and awkward. But gradually, he feels life and movement flowing into them. As the weeks go by, the stiffness wears off, and Chinnapan is eager to try his new hands at basket making. But the social worker explains that although his fingers are now strong and active, they will never regain their sense of touch. And so they must find a new trade for him. He will do well at mat weaving, for example. His instructor is also a leprosy patient, now cured, who belongs to the weaver's caste and is training a succession of healed patients and preparing them to set up looms in their own homes. The looms are inexpensive and can be purchased with the money they earn from weaving while still in hospital. Chinnapan works hard, and slowly he begins to gain speed and assurance. Finally, he is back in his own home, but this time as a breadwinner, a weaver, working on his own loom. These attractive table mats find a ready market. Each month, the buyers from the Mat Weavers Cooperative of the Mission to Lepers calls to collect his produce. And so, for this family, a new day dawns. The past, with its misery and fear, is left far behind. Weaving is still the family occupation. The weaving of simple baskets. The weaving of colorful mats. And the weaving of a full life for them all. One of a child's most valuable possessions are his eyes. Through them he enjoys the beauties and the wonders of life. They are his guardians, protecting him from harm. And they are his open windows to knowledge. This child is blind. Why? Because there was no doctor nearby to give him the simple treatment he needed. It is to try and prevent such tragedies that the Christian Medical College Hospital regularly sends out teams of surgeons and nurses from Vellore to set up eye treatment centers in remote villages. In these camps, eyes are operated on and cared for that would otherwise never have been seen by a doctor. The village school is converted into an operating theater. The floor is scrubbed, and the table and equipment brought in. The veranda is used as a clinic. Among the patients is Sukumar. He struggles and fights because he cannot bear any light on his eyes. He has keratomalacia, an extreme form of vitamin A deficiency complicated by infection. This is an urgent case. Without treatment, he could become blind within days. Antibiotic drops are put in the eyes. Then, a large dose of vitamin A is given by injection. As he lives nearby, he can go home, but he must be brought to the camp every day for injections. Patients of all ages are waiting to be seen. Old Parthy, blind for years, has been brought by her granddaughter, Radha, to see if anything can be done.
careful examination shows that she has cataracts. Radha hears that by a simple operation, her granny will be able to see again. Next day, there are many operations to be done. The team first join in prayer, asking God for strength and skill. The eyes, already numbed by local anesthetic, are rinsed out and medicated. Then the cataracts are quickly removed. Shell is the eye department of the hospital at Vellore, named after Mary Tabor Shell. 2 eyes can be operated on in a matter of minutes, so that as many as 130 operations have been done in one day. For the next 10 days, Parthy will be nursed at the eye camp with visits from a Vellore doctor every other day. Most cases do well, and the few that develop complications are taken back to Shell Hospital for further treatment. The 10th is the last day of the eye camp. Especially for those who had cataracts, it is a great day, for after the stitches are removed, they are given glasses. For old Parthy, the world has been dark for several years. But today, suddenly, she can see. For her, and for many others, a new life has begun, a life of independence. She can go where she wants, and do what she wants, without help from anyone. Parthy doesn't need her granddaughter anymore. Off you go, she says. I can manage by myself. Here is the boy who was going blind. And what a different child he is. His sight is saved, and he is happy and friendly once more. His mother now knows that she must give her children green vegetables rich in vitamin A, like this plant, that grows wild everywhere. She has learned her lesson. All children love to run races. It's been a keen contest, and they are panting from the effort. But they like it, for they have good lungs and strong hearts. But Babu can never run races. He is panting even at rest, because he has a weak heart, and his lungs have to work overtime to compensate. After careful examination by the heart specialist, tests are carried out to discover just what is wrong. The heartbeats are recorded on an electrocardiogram, and the tracings are studied. The chest surgeon and heart specialist review the case together and decide that Babu will be helped by an operation. The day arrives, and Babu is taken to the operating theater. Until 1950, heart operations, still new in the West, had not been attempted in Asia. It was a missionary surgeon at Vellore, Dr. Reeve Betts, who created the first department of chest surgery in India. Now the Indian specialists he has trained are teaching others. The wonderful thing is that today a mechanical pump can take over all the functions of the heart while the surgeon works inside. The first such open heart operation was performed successfully at Vellore in 1961. Just after the operation is a critical time for the patient. So the surgeon and anesthetist both come back to the ward. It is they who must see Babu safely into his oxygen tent and check that all is well with him. For Babu's mother, this is an anxious time, so the surgeon reassures her. He takes her to see little Rani, who had an open heart operation just 6 weeks before. Today, Rani can breathe easily. Little Babu's heart also will soon be strong. And like this girl, he will be happy and smiling and able to enjoy his life to the full. How good it is to have an appetite and to be able to give one's whole attention to the serious business of eating. But how tragic when a child that is starving has lost his appetite for the food he so desperately needs. Chokalingham's mother and aunt have watched him getting steadily weaker ever since his younger brother was born. Finally, the aunt persuades Chokalingham's mother to let her take him to the hospital at Vellore while the mother stays at home with the baby. Once in the hospital, Chokalingham is examined by the doctor. He explains to the students that this is a typical case of kwashiorkor. The face is swollen, the angles of the mouth ulcerated. The skin of the hands cracked and peeling. The stomach is distended and there is general swelling, especially of the legs. In this disease, the muscles almost literally turn to water through lack of the right food, particularly protein. A single drop of blood is enough to check the level of protein. Then, in the laboratory, after blood is centrifuged, the serum is placed on a strip of special paper. A current is switched on, and after some hours, the strip is stained. Here is a healthy child strip. Chokalingham's is very different. The bands are faint and narrow, showing that his protein level is far below normal. Why is this so? The answer probably lies in Chokalingham's home. So a public health nurse goes to visit the family. Chokalingham's father is a laborer, earning 40 rupees a month, about £3 or $8. The family eat the sort of food they can afford: rice, a few vegetables, and spices. This satisfies the energy needs of a man, but provides none of the protein required by growing children. The nurse tells the mother that she must give the family other foods as well. Milk and eggs may be too expensive, but these yellow lentils, for instance,
contain the protein that chocolingum needs so badly. So does this green gram and peanuts. From time immemorial, this is the way that peanuts have been crushed, just for the sake of the oil. Before crushing, these peanuts are rich in protein and oil. After the oil has been extracted, this crushed residue still contains all the protein. But it is usually used for manure or cattle food, while protein-hungry children live on starchy foods. A method of extracting protein from this residue has been developed at the Indian government's Food Research Institute at Mysore, and its value confirmed by trials at Vellore. Chocolingum is given milk containing peanut protein and is beginning to recover. Now his appetite knows no bounds, and he starts asking for more. But to cure the disease is not enough. To prevent kwashiorkor, mothers must be taught to give their children some good foods that are not expensive. One mother, taught in the hospital, can help a whole village. And now, although it's hard to believe it, here's chocolingum, just 4 weeks later. His health is fully restored, and he just loves to eat and eat and eat. One of the most exciting things to watch in a child is the awakening of the powers of intelligence. And perhaps one of the saddest sights is a child whose reason has been destroyed by illness. Pachiappan has convulsions and is unconscious. The doctor diagnoses virus encephalitis, an acute infection of the brain. In this illness, the brain may be permanently damaged, for which no effective treatment is known. As the virus causing this disease has never been identified, further tragedies can only be prevented if the means of infection can be found. Because cases like this have been so frequent around Vellore, a virus research team has been set up. This team now sets out to visit Pachiappan's home, which is 20 miles away from the hospital. Pachiappan's house is on the outskirts of the village, close to the wet green rice fields. His family are poor farmers, courteous and very willing to give all the help and cooperation they can. The nearness of the wet rice fields suggests that the mosquitoes breeding there might be the carriers of the virus. And so the insect collectors go off to get specimens of mosquito larvae from their breeding places. At the same time, the virologist takes blood samples from members of the family. These will show whether any of them have been previously infected with the same virus and have developed resistance. Blood specimens are also taken from the cattle to see if they can be harboring the virus. Mosquitoes are collected from the various buildings for study in the laboratory to see if they might be carrying the disease. And so, like detectives on the trail, the team moves on to comb the countryside for the tiny clues that may lead them to this ultra-microscopic murderer. Back in the laboratory, after long and painstaking investigations, a real breakthrough has been achieved. For the first time anywhere in the world, the virus causing this type of encephalitis has been traced to this variety of mosquito. But research must press on to discover where the virus lurks, which infects the mosquito, and how the spread of infection can best be prevented. Meanwhile, Pachiappan is making very slow progress. His is a sad case, and beyond careful nursing, there is very little to be done for him. But the work of a great hospital never stops. As soon as one child goes home, there are many others waiting to take his place. The doctor's hardest task is not the treatment of the case he admits, but saying no to the ones for whom there is no room. The sick children you see here were not selected for this film. They are simply the crowd who happened to be waiting in the outpatient department the day the cameraman arrived. This scene is repeated every day, every week of the year at Vellore. Dr. Ida's heart went out to children just like these over 60 years ago. Today's great hospital is still dedicated with love to bring health and the joy of living back to these little ones. Now, as then, the doctors who serve these children look to those who are friends of Vellore to give them the support that makes this work possible. Your gifts are given to God. Through the staff at Vellore, they will be passed on to children with love.